Howdy, y'all. Today's lesson is going to be on force. Forces. You guys know what a force is? I'm sitting outside. I got to watch this sun sort of thing. Here, it's too much sun here. So I'm going to be doing some Jedi moves. But okay, forces. How can you get something to move? I know force, right? How can you get something to move? By moving it, right? Well, can you be more specific? Okay. How can you get something to stop moving? Things are moving all the time. How do they stop? How do things move? And how do things stop? Okay. Yes, through a force. A force is a push or a pull. That's it. So push on something or you are pulling something. There's only two ways to get something to move or stop moving. Either you push it or you pull it. That's a force. Okay, a push or a pull that one object exerts on another object. You can apply a push on something, you can apply a pull on something. Now, anytime you push on something, it has a size, like a magnitude. You're pushing strong, or you're pushing kind of weak. And it has a direction. I'm pushing forward. Okay, so my force is going this way with a specific amount of magnitude, size, power, I guess. Okay, so that's a force. It's a push or a pull that has size and direction. So in this picture, the size would be how powerful he kicked it, and the direction would be up. And then eventually, other forces will take care of this football. You have the force of planet Earth, which is gravity. It's pulling everything towards it. So he's going to temporarily defeat gravity. He's going to take the ball. He's going to kick it really hard. It's going to go up. And then another force of Earth is going to grab it and start pulling it down with both size and direction. Gravity has a certain strength to it, and it's going to pull downward. It has size and direction too. The way we measure the size is through a scale, through a spring scale. That's how we determine how powerful something is, how forceful something is. It's coming at me. Which way do I move? Okay, I gotta go this way. Okay. Right, love being outdoors though. Okay, so how powerful something is you see how far it can stretch a spring or collapse a spring. Again, my dogs don't have a mute button. What are they barking at? I don't know. Okay, and we measure that in newtons. So that's how powerful something is. You pull it, and then how far it pulls apart is 20 newtons or 20. That's 100 newtons would be really strong. 20 newtons would be less. So you measure in newtons. Like we have units for length. We have units for mass, like grams, length, centimeters. Now we have for force, which is newtons, which you would write an N for that. Okay, there's some common forces. Don't worry about those numbers. The number 2 that goes with a lab sheet that you would normally fill out with it. Man, it's gonna be hard. Okay, there's some common forces. One is an applied force. That's simply that something does the work. A force applied to an object by a person or another person. That's the push or a pull. You can apply a push. You can apply a pull. Apply means is the one doing it. Okay, here you have an applied force. Maybe somebody pushed them. Somebody applied a force on them to get them to move. My 6-year-old doesn't need a push anymore. It's so exciting. I'll miss that, baby. Yeah. Okay, so you apply a push, or they can apply their own forces and go back and forth, and sweet. Now, here on planet Earth, there's always something to stop you. Whatever your plan is, something's going to work against you. If nothing else, just friction. It's okay. So friction is a force that opposes motion between two objects. Air resistance is a type of friction. So you have atoms and they're scraping against each other, and it slows you down. That's friction. For all states of matter, solids, liquids, and gases, there's friction in all of it. So even air has friction. You can move your hand here and you feel the wind, right? You stick your head out the window. That's friction. You're feeling air friction. All these atoms hitting you in the face. All these atoms hitting you in the hand. It's actually slowing you down. If there was no friction, you'd be like a ninja, right? Okay, friction, if you're pushing something, it's going to be pulling back. If you're pulling something, it's going to be pushing. It's going to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. There's always something trying to slow us down, but we shall overcome. Friction works backwards, so if you're pulling it to the right, friction is pulling it to the left. If you're pulling it or pushing it to the left, it's going to pull it to the right. Air resistance is friction. This guy sliding the second base is stopping because of friction. Imagine if there was no friction, he would slide into the outfield, he would slide through the wall, he would slide right off the planet Earth, and just. So friction is kind of a good thing. Friction slows us down. We have the force of gravity. Is gravity a pushing force or a pulling force? I can push against it. There was a push, pushing. Okay, gravity is going to grab it and it's going to pull it. It's going to pull it back down. Gravity is the force in which the Earth, Moon, or planets attracts another object toward itself. The bigger you are, the more friction or the more gravity you have. Even I have gravity. All atoms have some form of gravity, but you can't witness it because it's too small. The planet's pretty big, though. It even crushed itself around once upon a time. It's kind of cool. So gravity is trying to pull everything towards the center, right in here. Where's my pen, man? There it is. It's my laser pointer. There we go. Everything's being pulled right to that spot right there. There's the crust that's stopping us from getting there, but that's where we're being pulled. Okay. Life is nothing but gravity games. Everything in life is revolving around gravity. All sports, they're gravity games. Basketball, shoot, gravity takes it. Football, gravity, pull them down. We live in a world full of gravity. Gravity, just bringing them down. How come does my mouse not work? You're jumping on your bicycle, gravity's pulling you down. Well, there's the old Newton, apple fall on his head. Basketball, just a game against gravity. Who has the best anti-gravity skills? That'd be Michael Jordan. Okay, now this is not crucial that you. The sun keeps moving. All right. You have friction that stops you, and then you also have the normal force that stops you, essentially. Normal force is a support force when exerted upon in contact with another object. That's kind of weird. So whenever you are pushing against something, it's a weird concept. It actually pushes you back. When you stand on the ground with a certain amount of force, the ground is pushing back up on you with a certain amount of force. That's called the normal force. So there's forces acting on this book. There's the gravity that's pulling the book down, okay? But it's not going to make it to the center of the earth, right? There's tables in the way. Now let's say it's pushing down with, let's see if I get fancy. Use my fancy tool. Let's say the gravity is pushing down with, over here. Hard to see that mouse. I'm going to make it up. Let's say it's 100 newtons of force. That's how much gravity is pulling this book down. Well, it's not making it, so this table is actually pushing up with 100 newtons of force, which means they cancel each other out and it's not moving. Whenever you push on any atoms, the atoms push back on you. Have you ever had this happen, like on a soccer ball? A lot of people are playing soccer. You ever kicked a soccer ball with your bare foot really hard? Did it hurt? Yeah, probably did. No, it didn't hurt me much. No, yeah, it did. Mm-hmm. Okay, when you kick a ball with, say, 100 newtons of force, let's keep it easy. You kick the ball with 100 newtons of power, right? But the ball also kicks you back with 100 newtons of force, which is why your foot hurts. Whenever you kick something, it kicks you back. Whenever you punch something, it punches you back. Like you ever smack a wall? Don't do that. It hurts because you hit the wall actually hits you back. You break your hand that way. It's not a good idea. That's the normal force. Things, whenever you apply a force on something, it applies that force back right at you. Okay, how do I erase this stuff? Well, there it is. Ta-da! Cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, there's Mr. Newton. There's Mr. Newton. He's a pretty cool dude. I don't know where I heard it before, but you probably heard of Einstein, right? Somebody asked Einstein, who's the smartest guy that ever lived? Some people would think Einstein might have said himself, me. That's the kind of guy I am, right? Einstein said, this guy is the smartest guy that ever lived. That's a pretty cool compliment. Mr. Isaac Newton. You should watch some videos on that guy. If I had time, I would. He's a pretty clever dude. Okay, well, he created these laws of motion, which we may have time to go into later. But it's pretty important, dude, is what you need to know. And all forces are named after him, Newton's, N. So if you push with a certain amount of force, 100 newtons, Newton is named after that guy. I should point up here, that guy. Okay, Sir Isaac Newton. We're probably going to hear something about his laws coming up. Come on. Computer kind of froze. Okay, and here's basically where our activities begin. You guys need to know how to calculate net force. Net force. There's that word net. I use it when I go fishing. You can't count it unless you get the fish in the boat, right? Is that right? When do you count your fish? When you get it on the line or when you get it in your boat? I don't know. All right. So you have net force. You'll probably learn this someday. So one day you'll grow up and you'll get a job, right? And on your paycheck, you're going to see something awesome. It's going to say this word gross. That's how much you would have made if nobody took anything out. And then you'll see like minus, your taxes, minus your insurance, minus your dental plan, minus, 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 and this gross, this big amount that was like, oh, and then you actually go down and there's this thing called the net. That's actually what you get to keep is your net amount. You have to minus all these other things. There's a lot of math involved, additions, subtractions, and your net is what you get to keep. And I like to think about it as what you get in your net on a fishing boat, and you get it in your boat, and that's what you keep. So the net is what you keep. So on all of these things, there's going to be forces acting on it. This guy going down the hill, gravity's pulling him down. That's a plus. So I'd be adding that. He's pedaling, maybe, probably not. But if he was pedaling, that'd be another plus. I would add that to the gravity pulling him down. But there's things trying to stop him. What's trying to stop him? Okay, friction. Friction's always trying to stop you. So friction stops. We're slowing him down. Maybe I need a minus a 20 from all that math. And there's the normal force that's pushing him up. So you have to minus some of that. So there's a lot of math that's going on. We're going to make it easy for you, though. And after all of your additions and subtractions, your net is what you keep. It's what you get in your fishing net and you get in your boat. You get to keep it. Taxes. All the minuses. All right. Now a balanced force. When all of these net force, all the struggles on all sides, when they're all balance each other out, it's called a balanced force. It's forces acting on an object that are opposite in direction. So one can be going from this. Where's my camera? This direction and one from this direction, right? And if they're equal, like 10 newtons here, 10 newtons of here, well, it just stays put. The net force is zero. There we go. Net force is zero. The object does not move. Am I going this way now? Mm-hmm. Okay. Love being outside though. Oh man, I'm in trouble. Okay. If I have it the other way, where it's not in my eyes and it blurs my camera and you can't see it, so let's do the best we can. Okay, balance forces when everything acting on it is equal, so it doesn't move. If you're in balance, you're not moving. You're in balance. Everything is perfect. You're in balance. So for this situation, there's a push on this box that's 10 newtons to the right. Friction is trying to stop it with 10 newtons to the left. I'm gonna get this. There's just like a little tree is all I got, so I'm like trying to get in between this tree. So there's 10 newtons of force going to the right, 10 newtons going to the left. They balance each other out. It's completely equal. All these little windows, I gotta move around. Okay. Moving on. So if they're opposite, you have to subtraction. 10 newtons of force to the right, 10 newtons to the left. 10 minus 10 is 0. 0 newtons of force. Come on, move, computer. Why is my computer froze? Do that. There we go. I'll use those buttons. Awesome. Okay. If it's not balanced, then you're unbalanced. Okay, unbalanced things has a force stronger on one side, creating this lack of balance. Like if you're in balance and there's a force over here, you're out of balance. Okay, unbalanced things are moving. There are forces that are not opposite and equal. Net force is not 0. The object moves. Okay, I'm out of balance. So for example, if the friction is going to the left with 5 newtons of force, this feller, he's pulling with 10 newtons to the right. One is stronger. They're opposite. So we would have to subtract them. The net equals the force of the pull minus the force of the friction. The pull is 10 newtons and friction is 5, which means the net force, what I get in my boat, is 5 newtons of force. And the wagon is unbalanced, it's moving to the right. Okay, so I stole these pictures. Okay, how to measure net force, because we're going to start practicing it here in a second. If they are, let me get my pen. Okay, if they are opposite, meaning one's going to the left. Ooh, this is hard. Can't see my mouse. One's going to the left and one's going to the right. My laser pointer would be better. Then you subtract. So if he's, I'm going to go ahead and do that. There we go. Let's just stick with that. It's hard to see outside anyways. All right, so if the forces are opposite, like this guy's pulling to the left, this guy's pulling to the right, and there's 25 to the left, 10 newtons to the right, 25 is more powerful. It's stronger. So you'd have to take away from each other. So 25 newtons minus 10 newtons equals 15 newtons. That is the net force. Is it balanced or unbalanced? It's unbalanced because they are moving. Okay. So in this situation, one guy's pulling or pushing to the right, one guy's pushing to the left. They're opposite. Whenever they're opposite, you're going to want to subtract. So 37 to the right, 37 to the left. You minus the 2, that would be 0 newtons of force. These guys are not moving. They're stuck. They're perfectly balanced sumo wrestlers. Let's look at this one. Okay, you have a book. There's 18 newtons pushing on the right. There's 20 newtons pulling on the left. What is the net force of all that? Is it balanced or unbalanced? What direction is it moving? Let's look at these guys. They're going in the same direction. So what do you think I should do? Well, if opposites subtract, the same direction you should add. So he's pushing with 25 newtons. He's going to the right, pulling with 20 newtons. So they're helping each other, not working against each other. So I shouldn't subtract. So 25 newtons push, 20 newtons pull. You add them together, they're working together, and they've combined their strength to 45 newtons to the right. So, can you calculate the net force of this? What is the net force? Is it balanced or unbalanced? What direction is it moving? Guess that's it. All right. Good luck.